Kevin Akeroyd, I know many of you know that, but he's really been the architect and is the leader of the Marketing Cloud for Oracle. So, Kevin?
Yeah, I joined in 2013 to kind of create and build this Oracle Marketing Cloud thing. So this is either all my idea or all my fault. And I'll let you know which in about 2 years, okay? Is that fair? So far, it's looking okay. Before I jump in, I kind of want to echo that back. Thanks for the opportunity to sponsor. But more importantly, guys, as you can imagine, right, when you're deploying almost $5 billion in capital and making 10 acquisitions in 2.5 years and some relatively big bets, right? And the Luma folks just flat out, get this space better than just about anybody. So from a prioritization, from an advice, from a diligence, from a strategy, from a, oh God, what do we do now, right? We and I spend an inordinate amount of time with the Luma guys, simply because there's not too many, if any, people that are better to turn to. So in addition to thanking you for having us here in the sponsorship, I'd like to thank you guys for kind of being one of those folks that I and we turn to the last 2.5 years in putting some of this together, because you get invaluable partners. So thank you for that. Brian and I did not, you saw my slides for the first time today, right? You're going to hear so many things repeated, it's not even funny. I might as well not even give my presentation, because he just did it. And that is simply because we agree on a lot of the trends. The one thing that you will see, his slides were pretty beautiful. Mine are pretty ugly, okay? Just warning you. I spend so much time the last 2.5 years saying, no, it's not Oracle. This is not your father's Oldsmobile, okay? This is Oracle Marketing Cloud. We're a cutting-edge MarTech, AdTech, DMP, SaaS company. We're not Oracle. The one way in which I still act like Oracle is the ugliness of my slides, okay? So you've been warned, all right? And that's my tithe to Larry and Redwood Shores is ugly Oracle slides, okay? Fair? All right, great. I'm going to spend a couple minutes just saying, hey, when we went about building this thing, why? Right? Why the hell did we go about doing this? Other than the obvious, hey, there's a bunch of, the CMO is going to be the biggest spender, right? There's going to be a bunch of money flowing in here, yada, 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 right? We need growth categories. But it started with what's going on out there? What should we go build this big marketing stack against? And a couple things, right? This is the CMO, right? For decades and decades and decades, right? I was top of funnel, I was brand, I was web or store traffic, right? I was that. Great creative, great brand, great TV, great store traffic, great Sunday newspaper inserts, right, et cetera. What's happened, whether I'm a B2B customer, a B2C customer, a channel customer, I've taken all of the power away from the company. I'm so digital, I'm so fragmented, I'm so educated, I'm so empowered. I'll do my own research, I'll decide what content I look at, I'll decide what I download, I'll decide, right, literally what price comparison engines, what communities, et cetera. I have taken all of the power, and 80% of that decision to whether I even get you in a store or get a B2B sales rep or get you into my e-commerce store is done by the time marketing is over. So marketing is now responsible for virtually all of this, because if marketing doesn't do its job, the sales team or the in-store, right, brick and mortar, retail branch or auto dealer, or the e-commerce or the mobile application never gets the customer in the first place, right? Does that make sense, everybody? Everything has changed, right? So the CMO, right, companies in the CMO used to say, well, it's a product issue. We differentiate on product or on price or on quality or on brand. Now, virtually every CMO you would talk to, and this was the case in 2013, and it's been validated now, I think 2/3 of CMOs would say, yep, the number one competitive battlefield for my company is customer experience. Now, you go pool 100 CMOs, 95% of them will tell you that the number one competitive battlefield is customer experience. So if I'm a CMO, not only do I have to deal with the old stuff, like brand, I now am directly attributable to revenue, right? I'm not an influence anymore. I own it, just like the e-commerce or the sales department. And I own this customer experience thing. And what does that mean? So forgive the ugly consulty slide, but I have to move a couple different vectors. And start on the left. I've got to go from manual. And right now, virtually we're in 2015, and everything Brian said is true. But so much of marketing and advertising literally is an agency or an in-house guy, right, doing an audience, cutting a list, manually porting over some content, and pushing it out according to a schedule, right? And whether we want to admit it or not, that's 95% of what's going on out there, despite everything that's happened. We got to get from manual up into automated, and then finally into predictive, right? So automated means if I'm a big bank and I got to go talk to 20 million customers every week, right? I can't do that with 2,000 campaign managers and 20 agency heads. And pretty soon, I've got to start having the data, the tech, and everything start predicting for me, because even if I get automated, then the needs to go drive customer experience will outstrip even the most automated of opportunities. So second one, right? Mass to segment. We've been talking about personalization for a long time, nowhere near close to it. Right? We cut that 10 million customers into 20 segments, each of which have 500,000 people in them, right? We modify a little bit of creative or a subject line, and we pat ourselves on the back for being fantastic personalizers. It's like, no, it's not personalization. That's segmentation, right? And okay, that's great. Thank you for identifying that I'm one of 500,000 people in segment 17, but you're nowhere near to real personalization, or what I call individualization. So they really do have to get to, if they want to drive customer experience, you got to stop talking to me as record number 311,000 in segment 17. You got to start talking to me as Kevin, because you've got all the data, right? It's there. It's your opportunity to actually start talking to me as Kevin instead of record number 311,000. And then finally, right, I've been in marketing way, way long. I go all the way back to the 90s. We've been talking about omnichannel for a couple decades, right? And we're nowhere near close. We're so siloed, right? We are organized around our channels, right? I got a VP of CRM, a VP of direct mail, a VP of mobile, a VP of social, a VP of community, a VP of online, a VP of offline. We're not even close, right? Our systems, our tech, our KPIs, our data, our organization chart is single channel. And then they try to come together. We've got to organize around the customer and actually get into multiple channel and then into omni-channel, okay? Does this make sense, everybody? This is kind of, so guess what, CMO? Man, and most CMOs are kind of, I hate to say it, they're like that second dude on the left. We're not very far along. Now, the good news is kind of what Brian articulated, there's been massive amounts of investment, right? So the tools are in place now, right, to actually finally get up this curve. But the state of the union, guys, is that we've spent the last 5 years getting from the left dude to the second left dude, and now we're kind of finally ready to poise, okay? All right, what have been some of the biggest execution gaps, right? I'm gonna be Captain Obvious for a second. Man, if you can't get the data together, none of the rest of it's gonna matter, right? And data is still in silos, everywhere, Captain Obvious. Probably the even bigger challenge was that, man, even if I could get my you-know-what together on that, then it's just gonna sit there, right? It's not gonna get activated. So, and this is actually the bigger problem, right? It's not more petabytes or terabytes of data. It's not even getting it all together. It's, well, if all I do is get new shiny data and put it in a new shiny pile and say, yay, I've solved the data problem, but I don't activate it in as near real time, individualized as possible, why'd I go about solving the data problem, right? So activation was a really key one, and just getting it out there, right? Anytime you generate 3 billion terabytes of data just in B2C, never mind in B2B, and less than 5% of that shiny data ever gets activated to drive a commerce or a customer experience issue, Houston, right, got a problem. What do you guys show now? Over 3,000 vendors between the Lumascapes, right? There's an app for that, right? CMO there's an app for that. When we go into companies, on average in a Fortune 500 company, when we come in, we identify, when we do inventories, we identify over 50 different applications. So the marketer is spending more time syncing disparate content, disparate analytics, disparate data, disparate workflow, disparate reporting. I'm spending all my time syncing this crap instead of driving revenue, instead of driving customer experience. So I've got to get out of there as an app for that mentality. And then I got to get my own crap together, right? Like I said, I've got 17 different VPs, and the customer is 17 different customers inside every one of my silos. Instead of organizing myself around the customer, I've got to fix that. And I wish I had more time to pontificate about content, but I'm wasting a bunch of content in the process. So that was the whole why go do this. Now, what are we seeing companies do about it? I'll use the term convergence, and again, kind of agree with Brian. A lot of stuff has to come together to go from that lower left to the upper right and help the CMO actually deliver this. Data, identity, content, applications, and media have got to stop being separate things, and they are stopping to be separate things. They're all starting to come together. The anonymous, right? Kevin and all his anonymous behavior and Kevin and all his known behavior have got to come together, and they are. Ad tech and MarTech certainly have to come together. We've got to stop thinking about here's Kevin in acquisition, here's Kevin in education, here's Kevin in conversion, here's Kevin in purchase, here's Kevin in upsell, cross-sell, here's Kevin in loyalty, here's Kevin in evangelism and advocacy. Nope, that's the same guy all through the life cycle. That's got to come together. And then the channels, right? I can't treat Kevin different in social versus SMS versus push versus web versus e-commerce versus the telephone, right? So, man, ton of crap has to come together, ton of it. And that's why you're seeing me and a bunch of other my competitors go to market with this stuff, right? It's like, okay, voila, there's my version. This is what I pound my chest on around convergence, right? and a lot of us are doing it, right? Again, I promise, Brian and I did not compare notes. We did these independently, but you are seeing an amazing amount of consolidation. I happen to think that this is the first inning. Not only are you going to see the big boys continue to be really acquisitive, we're nowhere near done. I don't think my competitors are anywhere near done. I think you're going to see a ton of new entrants above and beyond the ones that were articulated, and I literally think this is just getting started. So you will see an amazing amount of consolidation aimed at achieving that convergence to go get the CMO over his or her execution gaps. Identity, I could not agree more. None of this is possible, right? If we don't someday hit that happy, hallowed ground where, oh, I know those cookies are Kevin, I know that device ID is Kevin, I know that mobile ID is Kevin, I know all 4 of those email browser addresses are Kevin, I know that third-party credit card is Kevin, right? I know that commerce is Kevin. If we do not nail the identity question, then everything else falls down. Because if you don't do this, then the data consolidation doesn't work. You don't do this, the omni-channel doesn't work. The consolidation, the conversion doesn't work unless you can nail this. So you are going to see this get immense investment. And this is going to go from a buzzword, right? Because a lot of us throw it around, right? We coined it ID graph, we productized it, we branded it, we did a press release. This is going to stop being pretty PowerPoint. And the whole industry is waking up to, holy crap, this is where the real battle actually exists. So you're going to see thousands and thousands and thousands of engineers, right? Billions of dollars investment. You're really going to see identity become the battleground because it, quite frankly, is the underpinning that makes everything else work, or it's all going to fall apart. We happen to think we've got a good mousetrap, but a lot of people are chasing this too. You're also going to see ecosystems, right? If me and my top 10 competitors, even if we just go buy 5 more companies each, we'll have rolled up 50 out of 3,000, right? So there's no way there's going to be an Uber Death Star around which all planets alive. Now, what's important, though, right, is no matter how innovative I get in acquisitions and integrations, I'm never going to keep up with the 50 new hot startups that got funded this week that my customers want to buy, right? So the real key is the hubs, right? Who are going to be the big hubs? And then when startup number 72, number 192, and 197 get real traction, my customers all want them, am I able, willing, and proactively have we put them into the ecosystems? Because we will never keep up with innovation, right? Innovation will always be there. You are going to want the hot new startup to continue to kick ass, and know, though, that you don't have to manage the hot new startup completely disparately than with what your core marketing hub is, okay? So you're going to really see ecosystems start to become a big, big play, and the CMO and all the buyers are going to actually start to differentiate not only on how much good stuff is in that hub, in that little cloud or that converged stack, but also how big, how well, how integrated, and how seamless and how aggressive they are on playing nicely with the other 2,900 things that they will never own and never be in their stack, okay? So you're really going to see ecosystems start to become important. And then this one's interesting. Forgive, this is a really ugly slide. So really ugly. But and I know it's a life cycle. It's an infinity loop now. It's not a pyramid. This shows you how old I am. I was in undergrad business school in the 80s, and this is what we used to show. So, but regardless of the depiction, right? Just an example, right? You look at marketing automation. Right, for 12 years, it's landing pages and emails in the prospecting to from a lead, right, to a purchase. Now, all of the platforms, right, are really going omni-channel. You cannot just have a platform like this, which is an intelligent orchestration platform, only manage email landing pages. It's got to, if it's the brains that says, I'm reading the data, and then whether it's triggers or beacons or business rules or segments, it's going to be the brain that says, go talk to Kevin in this way, in this channel. They're all going multi-channel. And very interesting, some of the most prolific channels. So has anybody ever been in direct mail or offline? Anybody been in marketing? I go all the way back to where before the web, email, social, mobile exist. I go back to catalogs and Sunday newspaper inserts. And we figured out, if you drop an email before the catalog, holy crap, the catalog response rate goes up. And then kind of a couple years later, oh man, if we jack up the SEO spend on Google, holy crap, store traffic goes up. The same weekend that I juiced the SEO spend, right? Same exact concept, but we've somehow forgotten that all these are as channels. And what you're really seeing now, and again, I'll stick with the marketing automation, what Eloqua, Marketo, and Aprimo and HubSpot used to do for 12 years was, okay, got a signal, okay, send out an email. Right now, nope, I'm going to go ahead and not only am I going to hit that prospect in email, I'm going to go ahead and serve on LinkedIn and on Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and push SMS and mobile. I'm going to be in app. I'm going to follow them around in display, just like B2C retargeting. I'm going to put search. I'm going to literally treat all of these, which used to be just advertising, as actual customer touchpoint channels. And you're seeing that happen day in, day out all the time. So you're watching channels converge too, and this line between, oh, that's an ad and that's a first-party customer touchpoint is completely blurred. And this is making the marketing stuff, by bringing the ad channels into the marketing mix, it's making the marketing stuff 10x more effective than it was when you didn't. Okay, so you're gonna start seeing this be commonplace. And the software will do it, right? Not just mine, but all the software platforms, right? This is becoming table stakes, which is great. You don't have to actually integrate 7 different pieces of software to do that now. The orchestration engines, mine and 10 others, actually will do it now, which is fantastic. I agree with mobile, so I'm glad I did that. The other thing that I think is going to be extremely interesting is this thing is going to go from the dumbest thing, right, to, right, it's already kind of going from programmatic to addressable. You're going to actually start seeing this thing be incredibly powerful. And you're going to see it being as intelligent and as performance-based as a Google, campaign. So I wish I had 15 minutes to pontificate about this too, but I don't. But in addition to watch out for mobile, watch out for video, and more importantly, actually watch out for TV, because guess what the single biggest budget still is, right? It's this one. And this is really going to come into the whole digital equation. A couple more things. I agree completely. Sales and marketing are coming together. The first wave of this, marketing really, really, really optimized and has done all this convergence and multi-channel and data and identity. And then it was contained in the marketing container, and it didn't port its way over to the sales guys. And it's not just B2B sales, like a B2B sales team like mine or Cisco's. You think about this is for a big bank, right? Between insurance agents, mortgage brokers, high net worth advisors. A big bank has 20,000 sales guys. They just don't call them salespeople, right? A pharmaceutical company has tens of thousands of people talking to 20,000 healthcare providers humping their drug, right? You have massive sales teams in pharmaceutical. They just don't call them that. CPG, right? You actually have telco. Virtually everywhere, the handoff of saying, oh, this goodness, now get it into the hands of the people that actually talk to that customer after marketing has done its job to bring the customer in, is as important, because otherwise, right, we do all this wonderful stuff, we hand them off to that broker or agent or representative or sales rep or doctor advisor, whatever we want to call them, and if all the things that we've just done for the last 9 months aren't directly in the hands of that rep to actually talk to the customer, whether it's in a sales or a customer service environment, what an unbelievable missed opportunity. So does this make sense, guys? Taking everything that marketing is doing and bringing it into the world of service and bringing it into the world of sales is compounding the impact, right? And the efficacy of all these investments that we're making, because if I drop the ball and by the time we get to a human again, the human doesn't have the 911 things that Kevin did, huge missed opportunity. So you're really seeing these things come together as well. Completely agree with what Brian said around analytics. Most analytics, right, have kind of been the rear. I told you these were ugly slides. That's a rear view mirror, and that's analytics, kind of like, get it? That's forward looking, out the windshield, looking forward. So I figured I'd better describe this one. Okay. Predictive, machine learning, right, and real time, right? So you're going to continue to see lots and lots and lots of this. But the big, big move here is going to be just, I don't want to have 17 different views of this, right? I don't want to look at my web reports, my email reports, my mobile reports, my social reports. This is a consolidation play, right, and a visualization play. This is about stop reading what happened yesterday and start actually getting ahead of it, right? And that's what's going to be probably more important and get more investment. Hopefully that difference makes sense. This is going to be super interesting too, right? You got the closed gardens. And their sole mission in life, right? They're there to get you to spend more money on their network, period. That's it. They don't want you to optimize. They want you to spend on their network, right? They don't want you using common IDs. They want you to standardize on the Facebook ID, the Google ID, right? And this is a huge part. No, Omar, what is this, 50% now? Closed gardens are 50% of everything. So you've got this, how are you from an analytics, from an offline measurement, right? How does a digital advertising ring the cash register in offline, right? And the identity layer, and what's going to emerge so that I actually have these things independent of the closed gardens. I don't have to manage a Google ID and a Facebook ID and an Apple ID, et cetera. This is going to be very, very interesting, guys, and I really wish I had an hour on this one, but watch for this, okay? This is a huge trend. Then finally, the services partners, right? We need a lot of help. And you're really seeing, right, whether it's the data guys, the SI guys, the advisory guys, the agency guys, right? You're just seeing that just go, right? All of them are acquiring each other, cross-planning, right? They're all disciplining, and you're going to really see the actual service side of this, combined as well. And then finally, and I just hit 0. So the only other thing that's guaranteed is that everything that I just said is going to be obsolete in 2 years, because it's changing that fast, right? We do weekly strategy sessions now. We don't do quarterly or annual, because if you do, you're just going to flat out miss, because the pace of change, whether it's consolidation, whether it's tech, whether it's data, et cetera, is just that. So there you go, guys. That's the pontification of the crystal ball as far as our lens goes, and some of the things that we see happening. Okay. So thanks for the time. Appreciate it.